Welcome to the Disney Parks Podcast with your hosts, Tony Casanova from DisneyByTheNumbers.com and Krista Joy from DisneyWays.com. Keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast at all times. And get ready for the Disney Parks Podcast.
Well, hello, everybody. Have you had anyone ask you what exactly are hidden Mickeys? A hidden Mickey is a partial or complete impression of Mickey Mouse placed by the Imagineers and artists to blend into the designs of Disney attractions, hotels, restaurants, and other areas. HiddenMickeyGuide.com is the unofficial collection of Disney's hidden Mickeys, brought to you by our special guest and author of Hidden Mickeys, A Field Guide to Disney's Best Kept Secrets, Steve Barrett. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me. I love talking about hidden Mickeys.
That's good. Being that you're the hidden Mickey expert.
Yeah, right. I think about them every day, so it's easy to talk about them.
Yeah. So let's start with Steve. How did you get started with collecting the hidden Mickeys? How did the whole passion begin?
Well, the passion began when I first came to Orlando in 1989. And I was not a theme park fan at the time at all. I don't know that I'd ever even been to a theme park, but possibly I had. So I came to Orlando and decided to check out Disney World. And, you know, it was, to me, it was like entering a parallel universe. You know, it just overwhelmed me. The detail and the storytelling just overwhelmed me, and I became an immediate fan of Walt Disney World. So since that time, I've just been obsessed with all things Disney. And now I must say that recently that's been narrowed down to hidden Mickeys, of course. But along the way, when I was reading the Disney magazine and books about Disney, I came across the hidden Mickey concept, probably in the mid-1990s. And I started exploring that and talking to cast members, some of whom did not even know what a hidden Mickey was at the time.
Right. Because
Disney did not talk about hidden Mickeys. So I started collecting a file of hidden Mickeys, and this was at Walt Disney World. And over time, it grew and grew, and my publisher asked to maybe arrange a book about hidden Mickeys. So we came up with the scavenger hunt idea, and that's how the books were born.
Wow.
So, and during, since 2003, when the first Walt Disney World Hidden Mickeys book was published, it's just exploded. And now even Disney talks freely about hidden Mickeys. It's not swept under the rug anymore.
Yeah. Someone told me you had written another book besides the hidden Mickey books.
Yeah, my first book about Disney was a guidebook.
Okay.
Because during the 90s, I would come so much, and after I moved here, I would go every week. I moved to Orlando.
Right.
And I felt like I just knew how to navigate the parks, as you probably feel as well.
Yeah.
So I just decided, I'll put together my own touring plans. And so I had a guidebook that I updated every year from 2001 through 2011 was the last edition of it. It was called The Hassle-Free Walt Disney World Vacation. And I had a lot of fun doing that book, but the Hidden Mickeys game and fun and just a number of fans that have grown and Hidden Mickey's interest, that's all I spend my time doing now. And so we just gave up the guidebook. I didn't have enough time to spend with it.
Right.
So now I just spend all my free time doing the Hidden Mickeys. That people, basically anymore, I don't have to find them anymore myself. Although sometimes I do. I mean, I talk to cast members periodically, and they'll let me know maybe about a new one. But now so many people write to me almost every day that if there's a new hidden Mickey out there, somebody's going to find it and they'll let me know, and I'll go out and basically I go out and verify that there indeed is a hidden Mickey there, and that it's still there, and that it's not it's not wishful thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how I spend my time with hidden Mickeys nowadays.
Yeah. So if it's a temporary hidden Mickey, that really doesn't count.
Right. When people send me images, I do tend to wait a while because, yes, some of these images are temporary. Mm-hmm. For example, there's a great hidden Mickey on the left rear leg of a Dalmatian statue sitting on the porch of Sid Cahuenga's area. That store that's now used for other reasons.
Right.
But it still has some Sid Cahuenga stuff in there. And it's just inside the entrance of Disney's Hollywood Studios. I was out there the other day, and the Dalmatian wasn't there. So, sometimes that happens because they remove it and they're going to clean it and put it back. I don't know. I hope it hasn't disappeared, but I'll have to wait and see. It was a great hidden Mickey, and it had been there for several years.
Yeah.
So, some, especially display window Mickey images, if they're hidden Mickeys, sometimes those don't last past 3 or 4 months.
Right.
So I'll wait and see, if they last or not. Now, there's one of probably my favorite display window hidden Mickey is along Main Street in the Emporium outside display window. There's a city from Aladdin, and in the second row of buildings there's a perfect hidden Mickey window, and thankfully that image has remained in place for a long time, 6, 7, 8 years. So that's an exception to the display window situation, because display window, as you know, display windows change periodically.
Yeah, especially for the seasons too.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have to, I collect numbers and you collect hidden Mickeys. So where do you keep all your information about all your hidden Mickeys? Is it Excel? Is it, I can't even imagine how you do that, Steve. And do you classify the, Walt Disney World, theme park, whether it's an attraction or something like that?
Well, Tony, I'm still kind of an old-fashioned guy, right?
Oh. Okay.
So on my website, when people submit a hidden Mickey, I keep it on the website for a while, but I print a paper copy. And right to my left on my desk, I have these 2 huge plastic bins of paper copies of hidden Mickeys, all arranged by park and by area, and Disney World, Disneyland, and the cruise ships. And that's what I use I take those paper copies in a briefcase to the parks, and that's what I use to go look and verify the image.
Wow.
So, for example, just earlier today, I was out at downtown Disney Marketplace, and I just thought, well, I'll look at the Disney Days of Christmas store, because there's some great hidden Mickey images in there. And several people have sent me photos of the Dalmatians that are on the fireplace mantelpiece shelf inside the store, and some of the spots kind of look close like Mickey. So I'm gonna have to debate on that. And by the way, whenever I'm confused about an image and I'm not sure if it's really a hidden Mickey or not, if it's close enough, I'll put it on my website in the questionable section so people can vote on it. Right. And we're talking about mainly the 3 circle Mickey images,
right?
The ones that are usually debatable. And thankfully, the voters are as probably more discriminating than I am. If it doesn't meet the criteria for a three-circle Mickey, it's generally that image is going to be voted down. So that's kind of how I operate. I go to different areas and check out images that people have sent me, and sometimes it's a fantastic new one that I didn't even know about. Of course, I love discovering those.
Right.
I remember only one person sent me this image. I think he's about 9 or 10 years old, and his mom was so proud that he saw this image, and nobody else has even seen it or sent it to me. But it's along Main Street in the Magic Kingdom, and it's just at the beginning of that little side street, about halfway down Main Street. If you're walking toward the castle, it's to your right. That little side street there.
Yep.
And right at the beginning in the cement, there's a three-circle depression of Mickey. Very difficult to see, but it's definitely there. So in that case, only one person ever saw that to send it to me, and it was a 9 or 10-year-old boy. So I love finding those. I have no idea how long that image has been there. I have no idea. But it just blows me away when I come across those kind of images.
Yeah, I love that. Well, and kids are lower to the ground, so they probably see a lot of the ones on the ground and where we don't notice.
That's absolutely true. And they're looking down a lot of times.
Yeah,
so, yeah. And by the way, I love hidden Mickeys in cement or in rocks, because I know they're going to be there a while,
Right, you can count on those.
Yes. So I can put them in the book, and they'll be valid. I really try to, whenever I update the book, I really try to have hidden Mickeys in there that people can find, and that they're not going to go away. I'm not 100% accurate on that, unfortunately, but that's what I try to.
Yeah, you've done a phenomenal job. You're amazing. And I was wondering, can you tell us, you're welcome, your favorite hidden Mickey is very special. So can you talk about that? And also, can you tell us how you ever discovered that?
Well, I knew I was in for a treat when I was able to go to a press conference in the fall a couple of years ago, before New Fantasyland was going to be open, and Disney was presenting to an audience of journalists and press people some photographs of the New Fantasyland, and lo and behold, a slide went up of this hidden Mickey, and Meg Crofton was up there saying, "And we're very proud of this new hidden Mickey." I'd never heard Disney talk like that, so I was floored. I almost fell over. And she said, "This is a hidden Mickey that only appears once a year at noon on Mickey Mouse's birthday, November 18th, and it's in the queue of the Little Mermaid ride. And at noon, the sun on that day is going to be in the right position in the sky to shine through holes in the ceiling of the queue, and it's going to make a three-circle classic hidden Mickey light image on the wall." And so that right now is my favorite one, because, I just appreciate the effort that the Imagineers went through to do the science to figure that out. I mean, it's just amazing. And it encourages me that Disney has embraced hidden Mickeys to a great extent, and that they are able to, and they're willing to apply this kind of expertise and research into creating great new hidden Mickeys. I just think it's wonderful. That wouldn't have happened 10 years ago.
It's terrific. And I just really feel like we owe so much of that to you. Like, you have made these things mainstream. It used to be like this underground secret, thing. And then Steve Barrett came along, and now the whole world knows about it. I think it's awesome what you're doing.
Yeah, I wake up a lot of mornings and pinch myself to see if it's real or a dream or whatever. But so far it's just been a blast, and I love it. It's a lot of fun. Yeah. And there are several Imagineers that write to me periodically, and tell me about new hidden Mickeys that they're putting in. And so obviously at that point, I know that that's going to be an official one, right? Because we always debate about, okay, what's an official hidden Mickey or not?
Right.
Well, I mean, the only way I know is if an Imagineer lets me know and writes to me, and that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So, but when it does, I definitely am going to put that image in the book.
All right, so I have a strange question, being the numbers guy. Do you have a total count on how many hidden Mickeys there are? Like, how many? Do you know how many are in the book?
Well, the last edition of the Walt Disney World book was the 6th edition.
Right.
And it had over 1,200 hidden Mickeys in Walt Disney World.
Wow.
So I suspect, and you're a numbers guy, Tony.
Yeah.
You'll appreciate this.
Okay.
And forgive me if I've told you this before, but I think it's an amazing phenomenon, and that is there is a physical law of the Disney universe, and that is that hidden Mickeys appear at a constant rate. New hidden Mickeys appear at a constant rate, and hidden Mickeys are lost at a constant rate. And that both those rates have been constant for the last 12 years. So,
That's interesting.
So I know really a ballpark figure when I do a new edition, which is every other year. I have a good idea how many new hidden Mickey or how many total hidden Mickeys are going to be in that book because of that constant rate, those constant rates that are occurring, and it's true because on a slow month, I'll find maybe 1 or 2 new good hidden Mickeys at Walt Disney World, and maybe 1 good new hidden Mickey at Disneyland. And on a good month, there'll be maybe 5 or 10 new hidden Mickeys, right, depending on what's happening, in the parks, a new attraction or a new refurbishment or whatever. But even if there's nothing new happening, these hidden Mickeys appear. It's like I don't know, I think what happens is that cast members and artists and Imagineers, subconsciously even, when they're painting or designing or crafting something going on at Disney, they'll just hidden Mickey image. It's like, just like, okay, I'll just do it right now. And I don't think necessarily that every time they're going to have a direction or a command to do that. So it's just amazing how it happens, but it does happen. So that's why it's important for people to continually look, because you never know when you're going to find a new hidden Mickey, on Disney property.
Yeah, well, the Disney universe is always, evolving. They're always, making new things and changing things out. But behind that even is this constant maintenance that they do. Rides go down for rehab, they repaint them. Even at night, they, refresh the outside of Main Street stores and things like that. So, somebody gets an urge with a paintbrush and we have a new hidden Mickey.
Right.
Yeah, interesting.
Honestly, I think the hidden Mickey, especially the 3-circle hidden Mickey image, is almost a universal symbol in the human subconscious, and that that's a fantastic statement. I understand that.
Yeah.
But if you look at the earliest Disney cartoons, Walt Disney animating these early cartoons in the early 40s, for example, 1940s, you will see rings of smoke and circles in the water that are perfect 3-circle Mickey images. And I'm thinking this has to have come out of the subconscious of these animators. They just popped out of their brains. So, and I still think that happens. So when an artist is just going to town, going to work, I think sometimes that image just pops out of their head and out of their creativity, and there it is.
Yes. Well, yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me a bit because that's what they think about all day at work. If you think about no matter what job you have, if you go to sleep at night, you tend to dream about work. And, I'm sure it is probably subconscious. That's a really interesting thought. Mm-hmm. Steve, do you have, if nobody's ever went on a hidden Mickey hunt before, what do you tell them as far as parks? Which park is the best to start in for looking for hidden Mickeys?
Yeah, I get that question a lot. And really, if you can get to Conservation Station at Rafiki's Planet Watch and Disney's Animal Kingdom, there are over 40 hidden Mickeys inside Conservation Station.
Wow.
So it's a nice, cool environment. It's, you don't have to walk very much. And you can explore the murals and find these wonderful hidden Mickeys. So that's a very easy way to start the game. So that again, that's a good place to start. Now, because if you go to any of the parks, you can find hidden Mickeys in the lands, but they're more spread out, and sometimes like hidden Mickeys on rides, like Test Track and Everest. Mm-hmm. There are hidden Mickeys on the rides, but sometimes those are very difficult to see. Speaking of the Imagineers, for example, on the mine train, an Imagineer sent me a photo of a hidden Oswald on the Seven Dwarfs mine train. He said he was only able to get the photo because he was walking through the ride before it was up. Mm-hmm. And he saw it there, and it's a wonderful Oswald in relief. It's sculpted in the wood, and it's on a log to your left as you're going through one of the scenes. And I haven't been able to even find it yet on the ride. I mean, you have to know exactly where to look, and at the precise second to see it. So some of those kind of hidden Mickeys are very challenging. So a good place to start is Conservation Station, because there's some great hidden Mickeys in there. There are three-circle classic hidden Mickeys. There are side profile Mickey images that are wonderful. There's full body hidden Mickeys and full frontal face frontal hidden Mickeys. So there's all kinds of Mickey images in there. It's a great place to start.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great suggestion too, especially for little ones. Yes. If you want to get them into this, because like you said, it's a small area, air conditioned, lots to find.
They would love it. And then you finish by going out to the petting zoo affection section, because the cast members almost always have a goat or an animal out there with a three-circle Mickey shaved, on their back. So it's a challenge to find, the goat with the hidden Mickey. And the cast members will, obviously they'll help you do it. But, nevertheless, it's fun to just sort of check them all out.
Well, I know you mentioned that you often ask the cast members where one is or where the latest one is. Do the cast members ever stop you in the park because they know who you are and they just want to show you or tell you about hidden Mickeys?
Some of the cast members know who I am, and yes, they will stop me in the parks and let me know about one or a new one they heard about. So cast members are a wonderful source of information. Now,
do you get stopped like every time you go out? Does someone stop you?
Not every time. Frequently, though.
I'm wondering how you do that. Without getting interrupted all day long. Because I'm sure people recognize you.
I'm so honored when people do recognize me that that's not a problem at all. But probably most people in the parks at any given day are not looking for hidden Mickeys, and the majority of them don't even know what hidden Mickeys are. So, but there's a significant number. You're right. There's a great number of people out there that come frequently and do look for them, and they do recognize me. So, when it does happen and people do recognize me, it's a lot of fun for me, as you might imagine. If you get recognized yourself, it's an honor that people are paying tribute to you for what you do.
I often wonder how they know who I am, Steve.
Well,
how do they know it's me?
And they always want to take selfies with Tony. Tony, can I take a selfie with you?
Well, Tony's got such a great smile. Selfies would definitely work.
Gosh. Well, you're definitely more famous than me, Steve. So
I don't know about that, Tony.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this elusive once a year Mickey that kind of blew my mind when I heard about it. So tell people when this happens, why it happens, where they might find it, and maybe they can make a little trip once a year to see this thing.
Oh, if you happen to be at Disney World on November 18th, definitely go to the Magic Kingdom. And, if you remember the queue of the Little Mermaid, there's an outside queue where you wind a lot. And then when you go inside into the cave, you pass a wooden masthead for a ship. If you remember that, I think it's a mermaid.
Yeah.
And as soon as you pass that to your right, you see an opening in the ceiling, and it's a big opening to the sky. You can see light coming in. Well, right near there is where, or actually in that hole is where the head of Mickey is sculpted. So you can see, if you line it up right, you can see the ears are in one part of the ceiling, and then the round head is in a lower part or in another part of the ceiling. And basically, if you're there at noon on November 18th, the sun is going to be right above those holes, and it's going to be a perfect shot for that light image to appear behind you on the left wall of the queue, and you'll see a 3-circle light image of Mickey. And people have told, it's only appeared, of course, 2 years now. And people have been there, and they told me it lasts about 7 minutes, is what they say.
Wow.
And, of course, you hope that there are not a lot of clouds that day, because that it wouldn't work if it's really cloudy.
Yeah.
But both years, it's appeared. And the question is it going to appear other times of the year? And that's what I ask people. Keep your eyes peeled. If you're there around noon of any day, look and see if you can see it, even a distorted light image of Mickey on the wall.
Yeah. I would think that would happen at the 6 months from that date. It would probably happen. It would probably have to happen twice a year, right?
I don't know. I'm not an astronomer, but you could probably figure that out. Yeah, if you knew anything or could research astronomy and figure out where the sun's going to be.
Yeah. So now a hidden Mickey like that, Steve, was not just a brush of paintbrush, and I'm just going to scribble in this little light Mickey. I mean, that took thinking. All right, this is going to happen only on Mickey's birthday, November 18th. It's only going to happen at noon. We're going to make it look like it's not a hidden Mickey until it is. I mean, that took effort.
Oh, you're not kidding. And I so appreciate that.
Yeah.
I so appreciate that. Oh, my gosh. That's really elevated. That's elevated the bar and the science of the hidden Mickeys to a new level.
Yeah. Yeah. And, before we got started recording, we were talking about, some of these other, larger aerial Mickeys that, you can see. I don't know, I guess if you had your own little private plane, you just drove around Walt Disney World. There's the trees over by the Magic Kingdom. Tell people a little bit about that.
You can see it from Google Earth, and also from your airplane if you're flying into Orlando or out of Orlando over that area, because I've seen it from my airplane. But anyway, it's a few miles northwest of the Magic Kingdom. It's a huge 3-circle classic Mickey image made of tree groves, and they have roads around them. You know, the head has a road around it. Each ear has a road encircling it. It's not on Disney property, and it's it's right off of Highway 27. And actually, a few years ago, my son and I decided we were going on a quest, on a real hunt. We were going to try to find this thing.
Right.
So we did a lot of Google Earth maps and all that, and figured out the roads out there. And we actually drove up to the thing, and it's basically dirt roads out to the area, and it's private property. So I wouldn't suggest people do it, because you might get thrown off or arrested or whatever. I don't know. Right. But for some reason, we were able to do it, and we weren't hassled or anything. But we found it's by a small lake, and we drove out there as close as we could get up to a fence that surrounds it, and we saw the trees. And of course, from the ground, it just looks like a bunch of trees. You can't really figure out that it's a Mickey image, because it's huge. But on Google Earth, it's a fantastic image. If you go to the Magic Kingdom on Google Earth and then go a few miles northwest, you'll come across it.
Wow.
It was planted by cast members.
Wow.
Back in 1992, I believe, is the year that it was planted. And I don't know who maintains it now, though, because it's not on Disney property. I have no idea who takes care of it.
Yeah. It's interesting because I heard a rumor that it was part of the Disney tree farm. And since it's not on Disney property, that doesn't sound like it's a true rumor.
Unless Disney's recently bought the property or something, I don't know. You know, the last word I had was that it was not. It was private property.
Yeah.
In Lake County.
Right. All right. Good to know.
Wow. Well, and will you tell us about your iPhone apps?
Yes, we have Hidden Mickey's apps for the iPhone and the Android. And by the way, a number of people have written me about the Windows phone, and I've asked my app guys, well, maybe make it available for the Windows phone too at some point. But it's the Hidden Mickeys for Disney World, Disneyland, and the cruise ships are available for the iPhone and the Android. The iPhone app updates are going to be available soon. In fact, my app guys have their own website. It's called hiddenmickeysApp.com, and they will have their updates when they're available on that website. But they're beautiful. I think they're beautiful apps. They have GPS, and they'll tell you where the closest Hidden Mickey is to where you're standing, and it's kind of fun. We've had positive responses from the apps.
Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
It's handy, that it's on your phone and you always have your phone with you. But I also love the design of your paperback books. They're nice, a good size. You can slip them into a purse or backpack and just go. So for the people that really prefer a paperback book, where can they get those?
Well, they're print books and they're available in bookstores. And let me say that the first Walt Disney World Hidden Mickey's book came out in 2003.
Wow.
And then a couple of years later, Disney called. And a lot of people ask me, if I write a book, how do I get Disney to sell it on property? Well, for us, it was just luck. Disney called my publisher and said, can we sell the book on property? And after we woke up after fainting on the floor,
right?
We said, absolutely you can. So a lot of the gift shops at Disney World and Disneyland and the cruise ships have the Hidden Mickey's books available on site. But you can also buy them online at my publisher's website, intrepidtraveler.com. Or you can get them on my website, hiddenmickeyguy.com. or in brick and mortar bookstores, Barnes and Noble, Books A Million, those kind of bookstores.
Yeah, it's a great book. I really.
Thank you.
I enjoy them. I have to ask this though, Steve. Is there going to be a Disneyland Paris and a Tokyo Disney book?
We talked to my publisher about that quite a bit. I went to Tokyo a few years ago, and I have a whole collection of hidden Mickeys from Tokyo. But the problem is the language issue and how to publish and distribute it in a different language. So we're wrestling with that at this point.
Right.
But yeah, I'd love to get into that area too. A lot of people ask me that.
Yeah. Do you think you would sell a English version for those two parks here in the States for people that when they went there would have a book?
Well,
or even an app. Maybe just do the app. They could take the app with them.
That's an idea. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah, because then you don't have to worry about, because I know those two countries, Paris and Japan, they are very finicky about things being in their language.
Yes.
And those are probably the two worst countries with those kind of regulations. So,
good point. Well, maybe that's what my publisher is wrestling with.
Yeah. I know, from my normal job that pays the bills, those are, two very, when we deliver any software to those countries, it must be in their language.
Okay.
So you can't have anything on the screen or in the documentation that's not in Japanese or French. So maybe it's just for software.
Well, I imagine there's going to be, I hope there are going to be spectacular hidden Mickeys in Shanghai. So,
oh yeah,
I'm looking forward to that, a chance to visit there for sure.
Yeah.
You must get excited, Steve, when they start, making new lands or renovating, things like the whole new Disney Springs is going to be like a whole new field day finding new hidden Mickeys.
Oh yes. Well, new Fantasyland proved that.
Yeah.
There's some fantastic new hidden Mickeys there.
Yeah.
Wonderful hidden Mickeys.
Yeah. Including
the one we talked about.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Avatar Land coming, hopefully, 2017, what are they talking about now? So, yeah, that'll be, interesting there.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only thing we didn't cover, Steve, I think, is how someone can submit a hidden Mickey. Do they just go to your website?
Yes, on the homepage of my website, hiddenmickeyguy.com, is a submit button at the top of the homepage, and it's pretty easy to submit. And some people, a lot of people don't have photos; they just sort of remember seeing one and describe it for me. That's good enough. Of course, I love photos. If you happen to be able to get a photo of a hidden Mickey, that's wonderful. But just a description that I can go by and to go out and look for it would be fine. So yes, that I check that almost every day, and people submit to me constantly, and that's the easiest way to get a hidden Mickey to me for sure.
Awesome.
And if you do see Steve in the park, now you have to go up and say hello to him.
Oh, of course. Please do.
We've established that.
Yes. Absolutely. I just think it's terrific that you do this. I think you are the only one that can do it the way that you do, because you live here. You have such a passion for it. You never get tired of it. It's obviously always constant changing thing. So you have to keep up with it. So we're just so grateful to you for bringing these things to the mainstream, because everybody's had so much fun with them and stuff. So thank you for that. And thanks for coming on the show too.
Well, it's a blast. I love talking about this subject for sure.
All right. Anything else, Tony?
I think that's it.
Okay. All right. We'll see you in the parks.
Okay. Thank you.
The Disney Parks Podcast is not affiliated with the Walt Disney Company. All Disney parks, attractions, lands, shows, event names, etc. are registered trademarks of the Walt Disney Company.
like a bolt out of the blue. Fate steps in and sees you through. One you wish upon a star.